as I suspected from the very beginning, Jason Kenney's long goodbye is starting to cause problems in the leadership race, where he is sticking his nose into things. He slammed Danielle Smith's proposed Sovereignty Act as just nuts. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, well, I mean, you kind of laid it out already. I mean, if a person's going to stay in an interim role or a long-term lame duck role, as Premier Kenney has chosen to do, it's pretty much expected then you would stay out of the leadership race. I mean, it's not a rule, but it's a matter of convention and form and just class. His chosen successor, the establishment candidate, is Travis Taves, who isn't necessarily all bad, but he's the certainly the one that Kenney wants. There's no doubt about that. And Danielle Smith seems to be the presumptive leader at this point. And I guess Kenney felt obligated to go in and take a swipe at her main plank, being that Sovereignty Act. And I don't think it helped as far as Taves goes. I mean, it established Smith as the non-establishment candidate. I think Kenney has turned this from a 3-person race into a 2-person race. Brian Jean has been fighting for oxygen already as the non-establishment candidate in there, and now it's going to be Taves versus Smith. And when you consider that half of the party already threw Kenney out recently, it's not a place. It's not a good endorsement for Taves.
Well, and when you look at some of the language that Jason Kenney is using to describe the Sovereignty Act, you think, well, just 6 months ago, you were saying this stuff on perhaps another issue. So to quote him directly, he says, the proposal is for Alberta to basically ignore and violate the Constitution in a way that is unprecedented in Canadian history, Kenney said. I'm quoting from the Calgary Herald. But here's where it gets a little bit, Kenney? Where he would probably argue with himself just a little while ago. To not enforce the laws of the land, including federal laws, which include the criminal code, which is nuts. Didn't we get our own chief firearms officer because we were not going to enforce the federal laws around the firearms laws because they violate what we think are the natural rights of Albertans? And yet he's saying that, okay, well, it's fine for us to do it on this one issue, but not Danielle Smith's issues.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I think a lot of his fear is she's going to succeed where he failed. A lot of why Kenney got pushed out by the membership was because he talked big and did nothing when it came to Ottawa. I mean, let's not beat around the bush with it. We got sick to death of it as Albertans, and clearly the members of his party did as well. Well, we'll talk about provincial police. We'll talk about a provincial pension plan. We'll send angry letters. We'll talk about shutting off the pipeline to the east. He had to do a single thing. And Smith is looking clear that she's going to act. And it's frustrated and upset him. And now he's swiping over. But as you said, yeah, the words are pretty hypocritical with some of the stuff he was talking about. But again, he was always talking. Smith, she'll probably act if she gets the chance.
Yeah, I think this is the or what that everybody has been looking for. Jason Kenney's strongly worded letters to Justin Trudeau never got us anywhere. And this is an opportunity to put some meat on the bones on whether it's unlawful or unconstitutional. I think that is kind of besides the point when she is willing to do something, anything other than waste paper in another letter to Justin Trudeau. And she really has established herself as the anti-Jason Kenney candidate. She is the anti-lockdown candidate. She's willing to apologize for Jason Kenney's transgressions as far as civil liberties goes. In her very first press conference, when she announced that she would be running officially, she said, yeah, I'll go on an apology tour because Albertans deserve one for how they've been treated for the last 2 years. And I think everybody at this point knows that she's the front runner, given how all the guns are pointed in at her. We saw that during the debate as well, where everyone was saying, oh, well, you said this about cancer, as though it's some sort of shock that lifestyle does affect all health outcomes. But that was shocking. That was somehow insensitive towards cancer patients when she suggested it, although it's, just common knowledge. But yeah, during the debate, all guns were pointed in at her. And I think that indicates that everybody knows she's the front runner.
Well, and they entrenched her further as such. I mean, I was critical of that first debate because strategically, they didn't even understand what they were doing. Every time they attacked Smith, they gave her another 4 minutes to speak. And she dominated that debate. She got to speak for half of it when there were 7 people who were all, the other 6 were fighting to be noticed throughout this debate. But every time they turned their gun at Smith, the way the format was set up, then she had more time to respond. And likewise with Kenney. Kenney has just brought Smith back into the headlines and given her another whole week to explain to people why she feels her Sovereignty Act is what's going to serve Albertans. It's not harming her a bit.
Oh, hey, what you just saw there is a clip from my weekly full-length show, The Gunn Show. It airs on Wednesday, but this is the internet. You can watch it whenever you feel like. You just have to become a subscriber to our paywalled premium content. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com to become a member today.